know this kind of psychopath.
He kills them quickly and with mercy.
Hey everybody and welcome. What? What the hell?
I said, what are we doing again? Like, I can't remember if we were doing humans or,
We're doing all of them. We're doing all the movies we've ever seen, ever.
Hannibals.
Hannibals? Hannibals? Hannibals the cannibals?
Hunimans.
Hunimans? Oh my gosh. Are you high? Are you high right now?
I wish.
Oh my goodness.
And it can't be.
Alright, well, welcome back to the
LuckyDog Podcast.
Oh, okay. So she's just jumping right in. This is your host, Elias Roush, and
Kellie.
Hey Kelly, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Doing great.
I've heard you've been doing some nursing and nursing trials, nursing school, that type of thing. Tell me about it. Has it been doing well?
It's just the CNA. It's not quite nursing yet. I haven't made it that far.
Yeah.
But it's going really good.
That's great.
Getting to work in a retirement home for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of elderly people in wheelchairs, and they're sweet and cute, and a lot of assholes in there.
Oh no, a lot of assholes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad that.
You'd be pissed too, right?
I mean, if you when you get a certain age, right? When you get a certain
that
age.
I'm in there, that's what I think of.
Oh,
how
goodness.
mad I would be.
Oh goodness. Well, let's try not to get too upset. What have you been watching in your spare time?
Humans.
Humans, okay.
And the first 2 episodes of Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I've been trying to hook you on some Breaking Bad as well. What else have we been watching?
Hannibal.
There we go. So today we are discussing the first 2 episodes of a show called Hannibal. Hannibal. I don't know. I keep saying that, but anyways, so this show is created by a guy named Bryan Fuller. He's created a couple other shows. I don't know if you've ever heard of Pushin' Daisies.
No, I have not.
Have you heard of the show called Heroes?
No.
No? I think these shows came out in like 07 and 06, so these are kind of a little bit older. This was his work during 2013. So, Hannibal the Cannibal.
Hannibals was his work during 2013.
Yes, right. He was working on some Star Trek. He worked on some Pushin' Daisies. Then he worked on a little bit of Heroes, and now he's doing Hannibal. So, 2013 he was doing Hannibal to 2015, and now he's doing a show called American Gods on Starz. So,
did you see his other stuff?
I've seen a little bit of Heroes. Conceptually, I thought it was okay. It didn't get very far past first season. I think it kind of just dove off, But I know a lot of people that like Pushin' Daisies and like other pieces of his work.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I had really no idea. I just knew this guy was pretty stylistic. I knew he had a keen eye for style.
Gotcha.
And certain certain filmography.
What's his name again?
Bryan Fuller. So, he is a primary writer and creator, along with Thomas Harris, who created the Hannibal series.
Gotcha. I like this.
Yeah.
Only 2 episodes in, and I like it.
2 episodes in, and you like it. All right. So yeah, I do want to get your first impressions on. Can we do first episode? Your first impression on your.
My first impression was it was going to be. You mentioned it, like Mindhunters.
Right.
I thought it was going to have kind of like the same kind of feel. I feel like Mindhunters jumped around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess this one does too, and that's why it makes me feel like it's going to be just like Mindhunters.
Mm-hmm.
But I still like it. I think it's a good show. I didn't even finish Mindhunters, did I?
I thought you did finish it.
Did we?
I think we finished it. We didn't. We never podcasted, but we really enjoyed Mindhunters. Mindhunter?
Mindhunter.
Yeah, Mindhunter. Yeah, that was a show about serial killers, primarily based in I think the 60s.
Yeah.
It was kind of 50s, 60s, maybe even 70s era, but it's a Netflix show. The Mindhunters is, and so going back to Hannibal feels like Mindhunters before it came out.
Yeah.
So Hannibal, I'm trying to think of a comparison. It kind of feels like Mindhunters, like a serial killer plot line mixed with kind of mystical and supernatural, psychological, tonal shifts and stuff like that. There's crazy shit happening. People are hallucinating, having crazy dreams, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And it really reminds me of like American Horror Story.
I don't remember people hallucinating in American Horror Story, and I watched a lot of it.
Right. So I've only watched the first 2 seasons, I believe, and I guess just the type of editing, the way the intensity of some of the scenes when they're showing the women, and just the intensity really reminded me of both of those shows.
Gotcha.
Along with a show I know you haven't heard of called True Detective. Okay, it's a mini series on HBO. First season with Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson.
Is Matthew McConaughey good?
But they're phenomenal. They're 2 cops that are trying to find a serial killer, essentially, or a cult. The leader of a cult.
No, I've not heard of it.
So this show kind of feels like a combination of the True Detectiveness, because True Detective came out around the same time the beginning of this Hannibal series did.
Oh, okay.
So they may have been given some cues off of it as well. Just the deer specifically.
Yeah.
There's women with that have been impaled on with deer antlers on Hannibal.
Yeah.
Very similar to True Detective.
Really?
Yes.
This is the first time I've ever seen anything like that.
It's sadistic. It's sick.
Oh, yeah.
And
for sure.
it sticks with you, just the type of the level of violence and gore that follow along with this show.
Yeah.
So anyway,
as much as I don't like gore, that didn't really bother me as much as I think it normally would.
Okay. Well, the gore was what was kind of holding me back from jumping into the show. I really wasn't sure how disgusting, how gory, what type of show it was going to be.
How much you were going to be able to handle.
Yeah. So, I can watch, rated R all the time. I'm just not into Saw. I don't need that type of torture porn.
I don't like Saw either.
So, it's just not smartly written. So, I think the strongest thing about this show is that it feels smart and it feels deliberate. Everything they show, everything they say feels like it's with purpose.
Like, I remember last night you said that there wasn't any wasted lines.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I mean, like, I don't know what it means like you do, but, like, I can kind of see what you mean.
I mean, everything they say is giving a part of the plot. It's giving a part of the story. It's informing the viewer of what's to come next.
Yeah.
I think what might benefit the show is the format it's in. First of all, it was shown on, I believe, NBC, maybe. Let's say NBC. I don't believe it was NBC or one of those broadcasting stations, CBS, one of those. Mm-hmm. Something you wouldn't expect to see this type of violence on. Yeah. So that was one thing that contributed to this being only 40-minute episodes, because you have to fill up the rest of the 20 minutes.
It feels longer than that.
Really?
To me, it does.
Oh, okay. Because I feel like it.
No time at all.
No time. I had no problem rewatching the first episode just to catch you up with it, because I enjoyed it that much.
Yeah.
Because just things you didn't see, things you want. It's worth a rewatch sometimes,
Yeah.
Especially if you enjoy it.
Last night maybe didn't feel so long, the first episode, but like just today, like that second episode felt like it was kind of long.
Right. It did feel a little longer.
I think the guy that they were trying to catch.
We can go through we'll go through the names of the individuals in the storyline here in a second. Let's do you want to go by the individuals that have been introduced?
Yeah. Okay,
so main character is not Dr. Hannibal Lecter. That was probably the biggest twist for me.
He wasn't even in it?
Well, he wasn't in the first 30 minutes of the first episode.
Oh, gotcha.
Because I was like, when is Mads Mikkelsen is the guy that plays Hannibal Lecter?
Yeah.
I was like, where the hell is this guy? So the episode opens up with us being introduced to Will Graham, played by Hugh Dancy. I think this guy's phenomenal.
I like him.
He is extremely likable as just a a first individual to come across in this world. You know, he's interesting. He's got some quirks about it. He's kind of like a Sherlock Holmes that just takes it a little bit further than necessary.
Yeah.
And puts himself in the serial killer's shoes.
Yeah.
And it puts us as the viewer like, oh my God, you know, we're like, what the hell's going on? It puts you like right in the middle of it. And so the very beginning, it shows him recreating the scene, essentially, the crime scene.
Gotcha. Yeah, that, like, up until the moment I saw...
Second or third time he did it, right?
No, seeing Hannibal Lecter.
Oh, okay.
Going from seeing where they said he took her lungs, and then it shows him eating that, up until that moment, I thought Will was doing everything.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
I was confused.
Yeah, you're like
I was real fucking lost.
Yeah, you're like, where the heck's going? What?
Until finally I saw Hannibal Lecter eating the lungs, and I'm like, hold on.
Yeah, like that guy's eating.
How did he get the lungs?
Yeah. It's like Oh my goodness. Yeah, the introduction of Mads Mikkelsen as Dr. Hannibal Lecter was sick.
Yeah.
It was just sick. That's all I can say.
I don't know why. I find it somewhat intriguing.
You
like
do?
How that girl's body like wasn't all kinds of crazy fucked up. Like the precise that he took the lungs out and then like sewed her back up and there wasn't blood and guts every fucking where, but she's just perfectly placed on some deer antlers.
Because he's a doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to like there has to be like so much fucking wrong in your head for you to be able to accomplish that.
Oh, absolutely. It's just like...
Because to me, that's just fucking insane that there wasn't blood and guts everywhere.
Oh, that's what it says. Is it's obviously this guy's in the medical field and he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He knows how to clean up on some sort of level. So if you're in forensics or if you're in the medical field, you probably know how to clean up and frame a body.
I think that would probably be any crazy psycho doctors, like, you know, one hoorah is to kill someone or not kill anyone, but take something out of someone's body,
right,
and kill them, and then you never get caught, or some shit like that. I don't know. I just think it's pretty fucking cool. Shouldn't say that.
No, my goodness. No, oh my goodness. You're not going to the medical. Oh my gosh, she's gonna be a nurse. Oh, we're done. We're done. Oh God.
I want to deliver babies.
Oh,
I don't want to do surgery on no one.
No, my goodness.
I couldn't do surgery on anybody. I don't even want to stick people for blood.
Oh my goodness.
I can't do it.
Oh,
but to see someone else being able to do it is what makes it intriguing for me.
Right. So
like I said, I don't even want to poke someone's finger.
Right. I mean, this type of television is so just gruesome and kind of sick, but it's also just a tad hint of intriguing.
Yeah. That
little intriguing bit, like Mads Mikkelsen going out of his way to feed Will like probably cooked human.
He said it was sausage.
Yeah, remains, and everyone
it was lung, human lung.
Well, now that we'll talk about that in a second, but
okay. I just like saying it.
Human lung. Yeah. So, just the level of I don't know, sadism, or I don't know what you call what Dr. Lecter has, but he likes being involved in the crime, and he likes doing the crime, and then he likes committing it or contributing to some sort of happening, and then he likes going through how it's being solved.
Yeah. And
that's like an extra level of crazy.
Oh yeah.
And he's going several scenes, you think that he's feeding the food that is from the individuals, from his human remains to Lawrence Fishburne and Will. Like, that's sick.
That is sick, but I mean they'll catch it. They'll catch on to it.
Yeah, they've used that.
I can't wait to see that. I can't wait for that scene.
When he finds out that...
When one of them find out that they've eaten human remains.
Yeah, that's...
I hope it's like a moment where it's like a ha-ha moment for the doctor. Where they're like, they've called him and they're like, you piece of shit, you're going to jail. And he's like, yeah,
he liked it too.
Oh, well,
He liked
you
it.
thought they were pretty good yourself?
Yeah, I was like, when Dr. Lecter is introduced, they're discussing the first girl's body.
Yeah.
I don't remember her name. The one they found in the room, right?
I can't remember her name either.
Yeah.
In her bed?
Yeah, they found her in a room. Abigail, I believe. No, that wasn't Abigail. Abigail's the second girl. Sorry. The first girl that died had lung cancer. And so that's how they found out that this individual doesn't like bad meat, quote unquote.
Oh.
So, we also found out that it may not be Hannibal Lecter that's doing the majority of the crimes. It seems that he's connected in some sort of way. Like when Hannibal Lecter was going to, with Will helping him, going to the construction site and trying to find clues and everything, all the stuff they found from bodies and whatnot, they found the metal, so they went to the construction site. So when they were there, Hannibal called the psychopath, Garrett Hobbs.
Yeah, and he was like, they know.
Yeah.
So do you think he's going to have a connection to this pharmacy guy?
I think he might be leading a reign, like several serial killers.
Because did you hear how he talked about, he was like, it's beautiful in its own
right
demented way or something like that.
The thing is, the other Garrett Hobbs, the guy that Will shot at the end of episode 1, was not he didn't say anything close to that. All he said was C.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
We don't know what that means, right?
S-E-E. He just said C,
Yeah.
like what? See what? Like he slashed his daughter and his wife's throat.
Yeah.
So they were cooking pancakes 20 minutes before. So, it's going to be interesting to see how the storylines are all connected and whatnot. The intertwinings of all these different characters. I really enjoy Lawrence Fishburne. I made an original podcast, but I didn't like it too much. So I did talk about the lack of women that were represented in the show.
Yeah.
Lack of strong women, I said specifically.
Yeah.
I guess you could say, I think her name is Beverly. Beverly Katz is the Asian lady.
I like her.
I'm assuming she's,
Asian?
No.
So how do you know she's Asian?
I don't know. She's from Massachusetts, so she's not Asian or whatever. She, wherever
she can still be Asian.
I can't find her ethnicity, so I'm sorry, I don't have her ancestry right in front of me. So anyway,
find it now.
Oh yeah, so
Find out her social.
We need to find everything we can about her. No, she does a good job with what she's given, but I don't think that she's playing a strong enough role to really be considered a strong female role. I think she might be considered a love interest right now.
Gotcha.
Either her or the other lady that has been introduced, Dr. Elena Bloom, who I believe is in...
I don't like the... Go ahead, sorry.
Elaine.
We're not talking about what we don't like.
Okay, so Elena Bloom is the other individual that is helping Jack Crawford, who is Lawrence Fishburne. Mm-hmm. I think these are really strong characters. The thing is, the women don't seem as strongly written, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yet. Yeah. Most of these serial killer shows never have a strong woman. Like.
Why?
Well, except for the like Silence of the Lambs. You saw that?
No.
You didn't see Silence of the Lambs? Oh wow, we got to do a retro review of that. That's I believe it was one of the first few books that had Hannibal Lecter in it, and this is when he's captured by the cops and stuff like that, and they have Jodie Foster interviewing him, trying to find other serial killers.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's a cult classic.
You've talked about it.
Yeah, well, that's what this show is loosely based off of.
Gotcha.
So, going along with season 1, episode 1, finishing up with what didn't you like about it?
I did not like this reporter bitch. I don't fucking like her.
She's
I'm
in
ready
she's in
for
she's in
Hannibal.
she's in 2.
Huh?
She's in 2.
Episode
She's in
2?
2. She's not in 1.
Oh, okay.
What didn't you like about episode 1?
Oh.
It ends with Hannibal.
But we don't ever know what happened
Will.
with the parents.
Those sketchy ass parents.
Yeah. I don't like that. Like, I would like to know, like, it's, I know they didn't do it right.
I don't think they did it, but it felt like they filmed it like they did.
Yeah, so, like, why do we not know, like, what really...
Because I think that we just misread that.
Okay.
I don't think those characters are important.
Okay. Well, then that answers my question. I don't really have anything that I disliked.
I would really say this is a strong first episode. Even more so than a lot of television off the top of my head that's already in my top 10.
Yeah.
Like I had talked to Kellie about first episode of Breaking Bad. It's a fantastic show, but getting into it is not like getting into Hannibal.
Yeah, no.
Right?
No.
It's much more of a slow burn, but it's still good. So Hannibal goes balls to the wall, just like from the get-go, and puts you in it.
Yeah.
And almost every other scene has something either crazy or something intense happening, you know? That moves the plot along, which also I think is because of the 40-minute time limit.
Yeah.
So, definitely watching this without commercials is a lot better.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you just keep on going.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm really curious to see how many episodes this first season is going to be. I bet it's under, yep.
It's under what?
How many do you think there are episodes?
Episodes 8.
8? Oh, no.
There's not even 8?
13.
Oh, shit. Okay.
13 is...
Hell, I was,
13 is solid. They have 13 episodes for all 3 seasons. So, I was expecting it to be anywhere from 10 to 20.
Yeah.
So 13 is pretty doable.
Gotcha.
Those type of shows that are on NBC and CBS and all those typically have like 20 episodes on the minimum. Lost had 22 episodes or something on the first one. First 3 seasons or something had like
22 episodes?
22 episodes. That's a fuck ton.
That's
It's a lot of television to write. So, I think the less the better. The less they have to write. The writers have to write. You know? So, first predictions. I don't think Lawrence Fishburne's going to make it very far.
No.
I think he's too expensive of an actor to have on there.
Who do you think is going to kill him?
Hannibal would be a good character to kill him because I don't see anyone else that would do it.
Yeah.
Any other bad or serial killers or individuals just don't seem like they're big enough of a character to take him out.
That pharmacy guy just walked up and fucking shot an officer.
Yeah, but the officer was just such a no-name. Like, did we even know his name?
I don't think so.
Yeah, the fact that he was even there again on the screen, I was like, what is this guy doing on screen again? Because I figured that he had served his purpose. And the fact that he got shot explained it all.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, well, not anymore.
Yeah. I was like, oh, this guy's going to be part of the story. Psh! I was like, oh, okay. And I don't know if I would have believed just some of the choppy editing on the second one, just of how it was going. Like, it would talk about Will and it would go to Will, but there was some vital things that had to happen in between. So, like, remember when the reporter... Well, let's rewind. Let's start from the beginning of episode 2. Okay, so from the beginning of episode 2... I mean, relatively, they're exploring Garrett Hobbs' cabin. And, yeah, so the Garrett Hobbs basically had his kill room. His kill room was his cabin and everything, you know?
Where all the antlers were?
Where all the antlers were, and they were trying to, explain that. And they talked about how maybe the daughter was involved with the killings, right?
Yeah.
And
do you think she is?
Ultimately not. I don't think so. I don't either.
See that happening.
No, I think it's Mads Mikkelsen, the Dr. Hannibal.
I believe that the mom and daughter probably knew something was wrong with the father.
Yeah.
But, like, hadn't quite did any kind of connecting the dots and probably didn't know what was wrong with him.
Right. I think that the mom and daughter knew something, and that's what got them killed.
Yeah.
So I think that obviously Hannibal is in cohorts with not just Garrett Hobbs, but he's in cohorts with a large sum of serial killers.
Probably.
And he's involved
Probably
with
how he gets his meals.
meal prep.
Meals on wheels.
Meals on deals on wheels on meals. One thing I did like about both episodes, just as a broad spectrum, all of the writing is always talking about eating. It's like talking about tasty. You know, he talks about, you know, my mind. You got a little zest in your system or something like that. He's like, I ain't got a little zest in my system. Will's like, you better back the hell up with your seasoning ass. I know, like when the Will was being not interviewed, but, you know, sitting down with Dr. Lecter, and he was I swear he was just about starting to pull out some salt and pepper on Will and just starting the flame.
You thought that on the detective too.
I know. I was ready. He's hungry. He's hungry. I'm telling you.
He is hungry.
But so this second episode was I was expecting it to be a SOG.
To be bad?
Most first episodes are supposed to hook you in. I didn't think the second episode was going to be almost just as good as the first.
It was.
Yeah.
Hell, I thought it was better with those people with mushrooms going off of them.
Hell, it was crazy. Yeah, I mean,
that was fucking cool.
Just the imagery that you see in this show is crazy. Yeah. It's like CSI, but the most fucked up.
Yeah. It is fucked up. All of this shit is.
Yeah. It's a collection of the best. But anyways, back to the goods. All of those bodies were not all women.
No, they were not.
So
the pharmacy guy does not discriminate.
Right. So the pharmacy guy is influenced to bring anybody with diabetes, I guess.
Yeah.
Anybody with diabetes and bury them, and he wants them to be one with the earth so he can feel the mushrooms or something ridiculously crazy.
So that you can connect with the mushrooms.
Yeah, fuck the mushrooms. This dude's tripping on mushrooms for all I know.
He probably is.
Yeah, but
probably staying high often though.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I was not expecting another serial killer in this episode.
I wasn't either.
Mm-hmm. So I thought we were going after Hannibal Lecter, but this makes so much more sense that we're going after other bad guys first. Yeah. Because if we were going after Hannibal, as soon as we get him, we got him. You know? Show's over.
Not if he has a string of bad guys who fucking do his dirty work.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Is it's smart that they didn't just say.
And he's a therapist.
I know. Being a therapist is like so manipulative in those ways. I mean, maybe they can connect all these serial killers all saw Dr. Hannibal. At some point, maybe.
Yeah.
We can maybe that might be something. We do find out a little bit more in episode 2, just a little bit how messed up our main character Will is. Mm-hmm. He's got
about him killing the guy. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, he was messed up before then, because when he was recreating the scene, the special investigation scene of the girl they found in the parents' house bed.
Yeah. He
was recreating the scene, and Dr. Katz, she came up and she was like, "Oh, you're so and so," and she asked if you're in FBI, and he was like, yeah, but they got special protocol, and basically he can't get in the special protocol because of
Oh, and she was like, "Are you unstable?"
Yeah, it was just really upfront.
It really was.
Fucking. Thanks for the
I'm like, yeah, bitch, I am.
It's like, what does it matter? We're both professionals, and we're in the crime scene. It's like, you know, what are you asking that?
Well, I'm here and you're here.
Yeah, it's like I wouldn't be standing over a body if I was unstable. Unless you're like a killer or something, right?
Thing.
Yeah. So.
Because I wasn't expecting her to just blurt that out.
Yeah, just stuff like that. Well, small lines like that are what I appreciate about the show. Just giving either key insight about the characters. You know, they're not just talking for bullshit. one of the more interesting parts regarding episode 2 was how involved this new reporter was.
Yeah.
So we have a reporter that is trying to, or a journalist that is following and kind of stalking Will and recording his conversations with Dr. Lecter and stuff like that. And I had no idea she was going to be such an integral part of the story. She was introduced. She was shown naked, probably screwing the forensics guy, and she was taking his pictures and uploading them onto a website, a tabloid website or something like that. And essentially, she was taking most of the information, saying it takes one to know one.
Yeah.
You know, so the discourse it brings is the FBI, you know, come to her house, come to her apartment, and basically tell her, you know, you can't fuck with the FBI.
Yeah.
And then
fucking throw her on her bed and fucking zip tie her wrist together.
Yeah.
I didn't see. I was like, oh shit, this ain't FBI. They can't do that.
Oh, they'll do that.
They got handcuffs. Why do they need zip ties? It was my thing.
Oh my goodness, that was an interesting thing. I guess I didn't even think about that. But I recognize some of the FBI agents.
So, I didn't until the black dude walked in.
Yeah, Fishborn.
Yeah.
Matrix.
Sure.
You know him.
Do you think I've seen the Matrix?
Oh, you're in the Matrix.
You are the Matrix.
You are the Matrix. So, finishing up with episode 2. What were your first impressions?
Episode 2.
That
was a really cool fucking episode, dude. Mm-hmm. That was really fucking cool. If you're into shit like that, then that was a really good episode.
Yeah. You got excited.
If you don't have like a weak stomach or anything. I did not care about that girl being in the hospital.
Really? Okay, so
I don't give two shits about her being in the hospital.
Abigail Hobbs?
Yeah. I don't understand why he's like sticking up her ass.
So, in the ass?
Maybe.
Oh.
We don't know if he's giving it to her up there.
No. She's way too innocent for that. Hopefully she's not doing that nor killing anybody. I doubt. She seems too nice to be an individual to be involved with any of these killings.
Yeah.
I could see this plot line easily going nowhere.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I
just don't like it.
If they're going to keep her around this long, she's obviously going to live. You know? Yeah. They wouldn't kill her just...
not saying I want her to die, but...
No, I can understand how she's not the most interesting part of the show. Well, she hasn't really done much. She's been stabbed and in a coma. So...
But hold on, is she not the girl who was showing up to the place where all that metal shit was?
Her dad worked there.
Oh, so she was just coming to see her dad.
Yeah. In episode 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe the female is not the most interesting part. I think that it might give Will something to care for. Because right now he doesn't care for shit.
Yeah.
He doesn't have anything to lose, is what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
Anyways, I thought the first 2 episodes were pretty dank. They were pretty fire.
Yeah, they really were. They were good.
They kind of go hand in hand a little bit. I hope that the rest of the episodes continue bring in the heat, you know?
Yeah.
To bring,
I'm not ready for another dull episode like how Downton Abbey just threw fucking season 4 at us and it sucked.
Oh Jesus, that wasn't. It was season 5 and 6 to me.
I thought it started at 4.
4.
We both agreed that it was 4.
I thought 4 was a turning point, or the end of 4 would have worked as as an end of series. But I really doubt that this television show is going to have too many lulls in it, especially with the way it's going.
I hope so.
So we'll keep our hopes up. We're going to continue watching we gotta finish up our Humans podcast. We finished season 1 and finishing up season 2. We've watched. Are you watching any movies or anything like that? I watched Take Your Pills. It's a Netflix documentary that I actually reviewed. It was interesting. Yeah, like it kind of polarizing, to be honest. You know, gave a lot of interesting information, but didn't kind of gave a deep dive into it. That was Take Your Pills. So,
but you liked it.
Found
it interesting.
I was glad I watched it.
Good.
Yeah, the first 5 minutes had me hooked. I was just like, this is pretty crazy, you know.
Yeah.
Just the type of information and the way it was being delivered. I'd never seen animation and editing done like that just for a documentary. So, Take Your Pills is also a good documentary to maybe look at just for a technical standpoint.
Throw in there a little bit.
Yeah. Anything else would you recommend? Are we watching anything else?
No,
I can't think of it.
We're considering going to see Garden. No, sure, like gnomes.
We ain't gonna go see gnomes.
We are.
No, we're not. No one's gonna see gnomes.
We're going to see.
We're gonna go shit on a gnome.
Unnecessary.
Oh my goodness, no. I don't think I can do that. If your movie pass comes in time, we might not.
We might not go.
Yeah, we might still not go. Yeah, you might have to pay us to go. But anyways, I appreciate everyone listening. Check out our full podcast library on YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple iTunes, all the popular podcast apps. Comments, questions, concerns, Twitter us, LuckyDogPodcast. Email us at TheLuckyDogPodcast@gmail.com. Kelly, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Come back anytime. The water's fine.
I'll try.
Oh, don't sound too excited now. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening.
Let's catch a psychopath. I don't find you that interesting. You will. Dr. Lecter.